What's up, Cinephiles? Welcome back to our channel. For today's episode, we'll be reviewing a movie that's been released back in QCinema 2015. It's an indie romance called Sleepless, directed by Cruz. But before we begin, if you're new to our channel, please hit that subscribe button for weekly reviews on movies, TV shows, and video games. Now, Phil, what is this movie all about?
Okay, Kevin, Sleepless is a story about Gem, played by Glaiza de Castro, and Barry, played by Dominic Roco. At sila ay dalawang call center agents. They're both suffering from insomnia and eventually they find solace with each other para harapin yung kanilang mga pinagdadaanan sa kanya-kanya nilang buhay. Kevin, what can you say about this movie?
Yeah, I'm glad that this one made it to Netflix because this one is more of the indie gems that I'm glad more people can watch. What I like about this movie is that there's a presumed marketing strategy to sell this movie as a romance, but eventually it became something bigger than that. It's about a story of brokenness and healing. And I know there are some films too that are marketed as romance, like Irene Villamore's Ulan, which is marketed as romance but a story about self-actualization. And to the more recent ones, On Vodka, Beers, and Regrets, though that one were kind of mixed because it works as a romance and a character study. So in here, it's a story about brokenness and healing, as we found those two employees who eventually found solace in sharing their troubles, because our initial thoughts, judgment about this movie is that these people are insomniac because of their work, but eventually it has to do with their own personal baggages and they started to form this connection. And what I like about this movie is that it didn't go into a romantic path, which is very rare in romance movies. And I do like it because these days I think platonic relationship among opposite sexes is just underrated, and the film makes its characters mature enough to understand that they are broken and what they need now is not really a lover but someone who can get them through the night. And eventually, Sleepless, it's about friends who find solace that yes, maybe you're not going to overcome these problems anytime soon, but at least you have the comfort of having someone on your side. Also, I have to add that this is the same cinematographer for Tayo sa Huling Buwan ng Taon, Tate Lamore. In here, she uses this same technique, though this is more focused on the nighttime shots of the Manila landscape. While Tayo sa Huling Buwan ng Taon has more aesthetic and more tasteful shots, I think that the cinematography here fits more thematically because it's about painting Manila with such a vast city-wide nighttime scape that kind of emphasizes the fact that the world could not be bothered by their problems because it has problems on their own. So yeah, it's just a nice turn for preconceived romantic story that we all expected. But Phil, what do you think?
Actually, isa na naman to sa mga movies na hindi ko napanood when it originally released, and I'm really glad na yung mga ganitong movies nga, like what you said, is napupunta sa mga popular streaming platforms like Netflix. And I couldn't agree more with everything you just said. When I began watching this movie, ina-expect ko na this is another romance kasi I really didn't know anything about this film. So, yung mga simulang conversations nila started kinda rough para sa akin. Hindi ako masyadong na-engage kasi parang ina-expect ko. So, ganito yung conversations nila, parang I don't know kung how they're gonna build up a romance ng ganito. But halfway through the movie, nung na-realize ko that the filmmakers was going for a beautiful friendship route, hindi sila yung sa romance, talagang na-appreciate ko ito and nag-make sense yung mga conversation sa akin because they're really starting to talk about weird stuff, mga zombie apocalypse, mga random stuff na ganon. Yung kanilang mga interactions really has no ulterior motive to start a romance. Yung kay Glaiza de Castro, for most na mga roles na nakikita ko sa kanya, usually siya yung matapang na babae na, well, or minsan kontrabida, and it's refreshing to see her na nagpo-portray ng character, not really yung usual na mga roles na mataray. And Dominic Roco, yung performance dito is napaka-subtle lang rin, pero it's also a great performance para sa akin. And I really find it neat na ang setting for most part of the movie ay sa gabi nga because these are two insomniacs at at sa gabi yung kanilang mga interactions, kanilang mga pag-uusap about their respective troubles. Because there's something about the night, there's something lonely about it, pero dahil they found solace with each other is yung mga interactions nila, mas nararamdaman mo yung pag-build up ng friendship nila. Actually nga, natatakot pa nga ako nung bandang huli because the friendship they developed here is so beautiful na natatakot ako na baka biglang isingit nila yung romance sa dulo. And when they didn't, yeah, I like this movie.
Yeah, I agree. When it comes to pacing, I know some might be bothered again because this is not your type of mainstream romance. It feels unhurried and we get a lot of beautiful shots with conversations. The conversation is a mix of something deep and something petty. So it feels really spontaneous. I like how the script was made. In terms of the performances, I have to agree, both did a great job. Their brand of acting here really well suits the nocturnal rhythm of the movie. It's great to see Glaiza in a performance that's really embodying a vulnerable and insecure girl. As for Dominic Roco, I think he won a Best Actor award for this movie in the film festival. And also, I would like to touch back on the call center as being the backdrop of the movie because I was thinking, is this just more of a convenience to emphasize that there are graveyard shift workers? But actually, there's a paradox that I've noticed in hindsight because call center job, it requires you communicating from people across the globe, and ultimately their problems would have to do with communications because both can't really express themselves and they are misunderstood by the people around them. I am glad that they did some visual animations here which kind of felt odd at first, but overall kind of makes sense because we're talking about the ungodly hours and they're talking about things that you usually don't talk about. So it kind of ranges for something deep and something petty. The script seems aimless because we're just getting different scenes of them talking, but you know, along the way, Cruz and his writer are really dropping a lot of hints to build up that friendship that I'm also glad that it went that route. As for my mixed thoughts, I think the film could have used more life, and I guess it traces back to my opinion of that visual animation. I wish they used more of that, but there's some fun scenes to be had, but like them dancing in the convenience store or that sudden impromptu musical performance, which really doesn't felt cringy. It felt spontaneous and it felt true to the characters.
Them dancing at the convenience store is probably the best scene para sa akin. I really like that. At ang napansin ko pa, marami bang sponsors tong movie na to? Because I don't really know kung sponsors ba nila yung sa dami ng naging product placements dito or they just didn't really care na ipakita on screen yun because there's a lot of it. With regards to some of my issues, nag-agree ako na it could have been more lively in a way, pero ang pinaka main issue ko is kasi nga yung sa conversations tulad nga ng sinabi mo kanina, di ba parang medyo aimless kasi it's just showing scene after scene of just friends talking, just hanging out. Pero some of these conversations can be hit or miss. Yung sa subplot dito kay Glaiza, yung sa kanyang family, you see it as misdirection. I see it as kind of unnecessary in a way, pero that's just me nitpicking. Because this is a really well made movie, from the cinematography, the acting, the story. In conclusion, this is a refreshing film para sa akin because it didn't go the romance route, and I really dig it for that because very rare ako makapanood ng story revolving two people, a male and a female, na it went for a beautiful friendship kind of movie, and they pulled it off kasi talagang na-build up yung friendship nila. Yung mga interactions sila is fun, naging believable yung attachment sa isa't isa, and really minsan marirealize mo rin in times of loneliness talaga, you don't really need la romantic partner lang, you just need someone na mapagsasabihan mo ng mga hinaing mo sa buhay. So overall, I'm going to give this movie a 4 out of 5 stars.
Yes, I agree. I like that their relationship never went onto an invasive approach. There are just two people who are just there for each each other. And also I have to add, like, there's my favorite scene here is the one that made the poster. Since both of them are insomniacs and they didn't sleep at all, and they just woke up and the sunrise is there, and the movie didn't put them into a situation where there's sexual tension. It's just genuine and pure friendship, like what you said. And there are some plot points that don't really add much to the overall arc, but it's in a way it kind of help of giving layers to the characters. I have to add that this is the type of movie that don't really have much catharsis on your initial viewing, but upon dwelling on it, on probably on your ride home or before you sleep, this movie starts to creep on you. I myself, I am on overthinking, and I am having sleepless nights as well. So it's about being bothered by different things that keep us at night. The movie recognizes that feeling, and I believe many people can relate to this. So I'm giving this as well a 4 out of 5.
And that's it for our review of Sleepless. If you like this video, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel.
Also, let us know what you think in the comment sections below. Thank you guys for watching. Till then, see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye bye guys.